Hi everyone, it's Cindy. Welcome back to Mass Make March here at Studioloo. We're on day number 9, flip and tip outs. So I have here a whole bunch of things that I've pulled out of my basket to make some flip outs and tip outs with, as well as some envelopes, glassine, white, silver, and yellow. I don't think we'll get through all of this today, but I'm going to do my best. I am doing a voiceover today because at the time of filming it's a little bit loud. I am just now going to start working on the vintage children's book pages and just trimming down the sides, and I'm going to be backing them on some paper. So a flip out or a tip out is essentially just another journaling space that has some kind of a tab attached to it, which you glue down to allow you to write on the back of it or have a pocket on the back and then have something underneath. So it's just another moving element in the journal, and you have a lot of options. I typically will try to keep the part that is tipping out inside the journal unless it's holding on to something, like has a pocket. That way you have a relatively flat space to be able to do your writing. Now, I think if you're laying a journal down on a table or on a sturdy surface anyways to do writing or gluing or painting or whatever, it doesn't really matter, to be honest. I think like a lot of times different journal elements, they may be slightly little bit unwieldy, like depending on, how fat your journal is or whatever, but I don't really think it's too concerning. I think that there's joy to be had in like finding the way to use something and to adjust to using it. So I don't really get too caught up in it. But these days I just find like my preference being to just try to keep those elements that I write on inside the book, or use some kind of a sturdy surface like a writing board. So now I'm just gluing with glue stick down on a page that's blank on the back. I'm using these large book pages. This is from a fairy tale book that's been really great for cutting words out of, and then using these big weird kind of pictures that aren't really my thing for backing paper, because it's this really nice paper. So then I'm just doing a fold there and showing you that that one will flap up, and this one I'm going to probably do a side fold on, I think, because it's got a nice amount of white space on one side, so I'll be able to do a side fold with that. And then just going to cut out this third one, this lovely deer. I think these would be really cute in a journal if you wanted to watercolor paint them as well. I think a lot of times these old illustrations in books that didn't have like colored pictures, they're almost like coloring books, really. You could do a lot of fun coloring in or painting. So now I'm just taking some scraps of some really pretty scrapbook paper, and I'm going to just trim it down to the same size to make a pocket on back of this tip out. So this is the kind of tip out that I'm more confident about having flip out of the book, because I'm keeping something in it like a journal card. Although I think that you can write on the back of it as well. It really doesn't matter. Just doing the required inking. Just going to ink the pocket up before I glue it on so that I don't have to struggle to ink the top pocket where the little thumb hole has been cut. And just using a little bit of art glitter glue to affix that down, straighten it out. And then I think I'll do a little bit of collage at the bottom. I'm just pulling from my basket of snippets, which are just little things that I cut out of books or little ephemera collections. Like this one is from a 49 in Market paper kit. And it's just something I've had left over. It's like a couple of kind of tickets, and this little piece is just cut from a book. And I'll do the same on the back of this one. We'll create a pocket. Just pop the thumb hole and do the inking. Again, just gluing this down. So now this one, we'll do a little bit of collage on the bottom of it as well, because it does have some white space there, which you could also journal on, but I'm going to do a little collage. These are all bits from my snippet basket. You'll see there's little botanicals and little pieces of digital kits. So I'll just ink up these elements to make them fit in a little better with this old paper. Okay, and then we'll just snip off the edges of those little excess pieces of paper. And that collage is done. Get rid of my sticky glue page. So that will go into the stitching pile with the others now. I'm just going to round the corners. Do a little inking around the edges of this one. Okay, so now I want to work on these these envelopes. So I'm just picking out a few roses from my sad and falling apart ephemera book. I'm currently working on a new one. I'm just very slowly going at that project. So I'm just going to ink the white edges of these rose stickers, and I think on these vellum pockets they'll be really, or not pockets rather, envelopes, that they'll look quite nice. Actually have I'm probably going to use one of these for a journal I'm currently working on. Just sticking those on there. So this is just a very easy tip out type project. Existing envelopes make a really easy project actually, so the hardest part of this is getting the backing off of these stickers. So now I'm just going to pull from my pile again here, and this is a magazine cutout of this really nice kind of textile studio with a couple of mannequin bodies with some linen, and I'm just taking the back side of that book page and I'm going to create like a little pocket on the back of this tip out, so it will also have something to slip inside plus writing space. And then I'll just ink these edges up because this particular image has quite a vintage feel to it. I'm just looking for some bits that I can collage on here. I've got this old, this is actually from an old photo album, and it's this quite patinaed paper that I pulled out of its spiral binding, and I think I like the kind of grungy look of it and how it will go with the nice natural colors, the neutral tones in this image. And then these are just some numbers that I pulled out of some book. I thought it'd be kind of nice at the bottom because it was a vintage book. I just can't find the right space for that little piece of scrapbook paper there. Put it on the back, on the pocket. So we have a little collage on there. Those little numbers will go well with it. Get rid of this sticky page. And then we need to ink this up a bit. Just going to add some blue ink to add some color, a bit of contrast. I always like to use this light blue shade when there's like a bit of a pink from those roses. I just think pink and this kind of blue, this range of blues always looks so nice together, especially with like shabby colors like cream and gold and brown. And then we'll just add a bit of vintage photo as well. So I was thinking maybe we could do a little bit of like textile collage or something on this, and then I found this ribbon in my basket, and it's just a little bit of cotton lace. So I'm just going to wind it, kind of weaving it into all the holes of the spiral notebook that's been torn there, and then I will run a stitch down it once I go to the stitching point of this. Sorry, I'm getting a little close to myself there. I get off camera, but you see how it's woven through all the holes there, so it looks kind of like ribboning that's going down the side there. So we will stitch that on at the end. Then I have this. This is an image from an art magazine of a moose, and someone in the comments had said to me, when you do this series, I'd love it if you made it a little bit more, you know, Canadian. So here's my little contribution today to Canadianize this challenge. We're going to use this moose. This was a work that was in a Canadian art gallery from a Canadian art magazine, and I just thought it was really kind of cool. So I use a large white envelope for this tip out or flip out. Just going to liberally apply glue on the back here and lay the envelope on top, making sure that I center the moose there. I know roughly where he is. And then we'll just trim up the edges of that magazine page because they are sticky. And just smooth this all down. I'm thinking of adding a little eco-printed cotton fabric at the bottom. I'll do that last, but we'll just smooth this down more with a card. And then I think it just needs a little something to collage with. So I'm just looking at my snippet basket here, and I have this little postage mark that's been stamped on coffee dyed lace paper. I'm just rummaging, and now I found this packet of stamps that I actually just got from Nancy at Wishes and Weeds. She's got this whole lovely collection of different colored stamps that she sells in packets, and it makes it really convenient to already have them organized by color. So I'm just going to put some of these down. These are the green range. And I'm sort of deciding that that coffee dyed paper edge is just not working for me, so I'm just going to tear it off there and just cover it with a stamp that I think looks a lot nicer. A couple more Canada stamps that are still hinged together. Get rid of my sticky page. And then we need to do something here with this paper. It's so white. So I'm just spraying a coffee solution on here. So this is just coffee with alcohol. Like I put about, I would say, not quite, maybe a ½ inch of alcohol in the bottom of my spray container and fill the rest with cold coffee. And I'm able to keep that not in the refrigerator, in my studio. Never had any mold or mildew or smell of any kind. Alcohol is the 85% rubbing alcohol, but I think as low as a 60% you'll be fine. I know that the levels of alcohol in regular rubbing alcohol were typically around 70 or 90% typically in stores, but when the pandemic started, alcohol content changed in our sanitizers and alcohols and things. It's I guess to try to like preserve the alcohols, but so I'm just going to collage a few more of these green stamps on back because that will give a little interest when I put this into the journal. Just to have a few of these fun green stamps. And I think on their own, these kind of stamps can be like, you know, a little boring if they just have like a person on them, but like when they're used together in color groupings, I find them really interesting. I think it kicks it up a notch, you know, it makes it more artful than just having like a stamp for some reason. So I'm just kind of finishing up the inking there. And then I'll set the fabric with it to do the stitching afterward. And then this is a little book page from a children's book that had really pretty illustrations. Like the skies were like very yellow and blue and the trees were green and like they had a lot of apple trees and stuff. It had a really pretty illustration style. So I have this little snippet of it left, and I want to cut a couple of these circles out because the backing paper has some holes in it, but they're kind of weak because it's from an old baby book. And so I'm just going to use these to strengthen up that connection so that the holes don't break. So I've re-glued magnets to my glue bottles to keep my pins on so I don't keep losing them. But I'm having a lot of trouble remembering to put the pin back where it's supposed to go. So you can see there's some notes about baby in 1958. I'm going to be covering all that over with this book page. I took apart a baby book recently to scan the photos and to use the ephemera in journals. It's a 1950s baby book. I did share it in a recent Flip Through Friday video. So I'm just going to pre-press down those red circles and use a wooden ruler to just smooth them down to try to get that connection a little better. And then I'm going to just cut around the image. So I probably could have pulled the camera out a little bit, but I was a little challenged this morning, which is why I'm doing a voiceover today. I'm still recovering from this cold. I know I still have a very husky voice, and hopefully it goes away soon. As you can see in the upper right hand corner, I have an entire lemon in my water. I'm hoping that that helps my voice a little bit. And now I'm just taking some little snippy bits from my bin and collaging with them. Just kind of make that seam look nicer. And we will round these corners off. And now I'm going to work with another image from an art book, and it's a bunch of soda bottles. So I'm just going to kind of leave the bottom a little tatty, and we're going to grunge this up with some coffee and ink. It's going to use some mustard seed, and I'm probably not going to use like all of this ink on this project, so I'll get something to kind of sop some of it up to use that color. An envelope here, so we'll stain that envelope for our next project with that. And I'll probably end up using this book page too, so I try not to like waste inks. So I'm just drying everything up with my heat tool here. It just takes a moment. I didn't want to speed this video up too fast because trying to do the voiceover, I didn't want to sound like a squirrel. I'm just drying the envelope as well because I'll use that for another project, even if it's not today. So get rid of this, set this paper aside, we'll use it later. And then I'll take the one that I've stained on the back with yellow and actually use it as the backing for this flip out. Just get this all cut out. Just going to rough the edges of the bottom a little bit. Scrunch this up with a bit of vintage photo ink. And we need, sorry for my reach, I need to reach something to put on here, a collage. I'm thinking a Tim Holtz person would be nice. Then we need some elements to put behind him. So just some grungy old book spine and some grungy old cheesecloth. Just gives it kind of an industrial look, which I think goes with the Coke bottles. Or soda bottles. I guess they're not Coke bottles. To remember the name of it. This reminds me of, there's a glass museum in New York that I went to that is really a beautiful place to look at glass, industrial, like all of that kind of fun stuff. I'm trying to remember which company it is that has it. If you just look it up, like the New York Museum of Glass, you'll find it. I went there once for a really lovely exhibit. They had a Pyrex exhibit and they had all of the really rare old Pyrex. I'm a bit of a Pyrex collector. I have some lovely pieces, some more rare pieces. So I'm just looking for a little word snippet to use here. Always digging around for which one will work better. And there we go. A long forgotten story, a whisper. Just ink it up so it's not so bright white on the grungy background. Okay, and we'll get that all glued down. Grunge it a little more here. And now it's time to get ready to stitch. I will be right back. Hey everyone, we are back from voiceover land. So I didn't get as much done as I thought I would today, but I'm actually quite happy with what I did get done, which is okay because, you know, mask making is still a quality over quantity measure. So let's count what we made as I go through them. So number one is this little book page with this collage and pocket on the back. That'll be a fun tip up. 2, same book, side tuck with pocket. 3, same book, a flip up, rounded corners. Numbers 4, 5, and 6 are those vintage vellum envelopes. I didn't do anything with those. They're going to be a lot of fun to just tuck, you know, to flip out, have something fun in that you can see. So what did I say that was? 6, right? Okay, 7 is this textile one. So I stitched down that bit of lace, stitched around. And that has a tuck on the back as well. Number 8 is our moose, and I did stitch the fabric on here. And it's also an envelope flip out. Number 9, this is from a cute little children's book, and I just stitched around it. And number 10 was this one, A Long Forgotten Story, A Whisper, with a bit of collage. This is like a soda bottle image. So yeah, I feel like 10 is a good number. We'll just double check. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, so 10 for today. Not massive numbers, and I know it's a little different with the voiceover. It's just a little noisy in my house today, and yeah, that, you know, happens. So let's record that we made 10, and I will see you again tomorrow for Mask Make March.